Hey guys, so we're going to be building out the next part of Forgot Password today. And before we start that, make sure that your reset password is working. Now, NodeMailer seems to be working today for me, so I went ahead and reset the password for Bob. And I came over here to my terminal and I saw the URL that I can click on to actually see the email. And I got an email that looks like this. And so I can then click on this email to reset my password, and we come to a blank screen. So this is what we'll be working on today. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this token that's in the URL right here. So this is a unique token that we saved in our Redis, and we're going to get the user to type out a new password, and when they finish typing out that password, we're going to send both the new password and this token to the server. And the server knows who we are, who are the person who's making this request, and whether they should be making this request based on this token and the URL. That is key. So let's go ahead and get started with that. So we're going to create a new module inside of web called change password, and we're going to follow the same format. So I'm going to copy the UI folder into there, and I'm going to rename forgot password to change password view. And we're going to come in here and change some things up. We're not going to worry about this. I'm going to say no. Here I'm going to change the email to be new password. And the reason why I'm calling this new password instead of password is if we come over here and I want to use one of my yup schemas, I want to match one up with the password field. I don't see which one we use for the password, but I want to do the same one we have on the server. So let's come look at server source modules, forgot password, and let's look at the resolvers in here. So here's forgot password change. So you can see we are validating the password right here with schema.validate, and alright, looks like they just I made a schema locally here for the server. So I'm going to move this into the common folder so I can both use this schema on the server and on the website. So I'll move it into here, and I'm going to call this change password schema, and I give that a save, and we'll make sure to export this. Now I've made a change now to this and I'm going to have to build it. So I'm going to open up a new terminal, go to packages, common, and do yarn build. That way I can access it from the server. So instead of creating the schema locally here, I'm now going to import this, and I'm going to import it and get rid of this from, we already have common right here, so we can just add it to this import. And let's see if it finished building. It did, and it's going to be change password schema, and again we just made changes, so we're gonna have to do TypeScript restart. That way TypeScript picks up on it, and then I'm gonna come down here and change my schema to change password schema. And we don't need this schema right here anymore. Now I just noticed this right here. This is a really ugly import. I don't know why this is here. I must have been doing some kind of import automatically. So I'm gonna, I don't know, I delete it, but I want to change it. So I'm gonna say up, and I think it went up one more. I'm not sure why auto-completion now is adding those really ugly URLs for me, but we don't need either of these guys anymore, and I can get rid of that stuff. Alright, so now I can use this schema that we just created, and the schema uses the key new password, so that's why I'm using new password here. So the name here I'm going to change to password, or new password I mean, and we'll set the type, and we set the type for register. I think I just need to add type right on there. Yep. And the reason why we're adding this is so you can't see what the user's typing. And I'm not going to worry about this placeholder thing. We could add the password one, I guess, to be consistent if we wanted to. So this is the icon that we've been using for password. Paste that in. Placeholder will be new password. And I'm going to rename this to change password. And let's see what we got doing on here. So we need to rename this to new password, and I'm going to rename this as well. So change password view. Alright, so I think this looks good now. Let's go ahead and create a connector for it. So change password connector. I'm going to copy this here, paste, and we don't have a controller right now. We'll be adding that shortly. Change password connector. And I'm thinking we might just add the controller real quickly. So I'm going to just add kind of like a stub for the controller. So I'm going to come to controller, source, modules. I'm going to say change password controller. And let's go ahead and create an index.ts, or tsx, I mean. We can copy what's in here, paste it in. And actually it's going to make quite a few changes that we're going to be doing, or a couple changes in the change password controller. So maybe we want to wait to add this in a second. Let's go ahead and just use our dummy submit. I was seeing if we might want to avoid that. I really should have the dummy submit. I have written this out so many times now as like a function or something. So I'm going to say values any, return null, console.log values, and we'll get rid of this for now. It's good to see it though, whether it will return or not. And something's not right with it. And my render has the type any. I'm not sure what's going on with that. Oh, because I'm rendering myself. That's why. This should be change password view. So I was rendering this instead of that. Alright, so here's my auto completion being weird again. So I want to see, so if I do command dot, I can see my options. So for some reason it only gives me this really weird option now, but I don't want that at all. So I'm going to say dot slash UI slash change password view. Alrighty. I'm actually just going to call this submit, because we're actually going to, it's not going to be a dummy submit, we're just going to fill it in later, because we're actually going to use submit here, possibly. The other thing is we're going to have to send up, we're going to have to send up this key right here, right? That's actually going to be from our props. So I'm going to console.log this.props and show you guys where that's coming from. Alright, and I need to restart the server because we added a new file. Or it looks like it's fine. Oh, we haven't added a route. Under routes index. So this is kind of a special route. So it's change password, and then there's a thing at the end. There's a variable. So I'm going to call it key, and then I'm going to say change password connector, and of course it's all wonky. Modules change password. So we're going to be using key, and the name we use here we'll be able to console log and see that value. Alright. Usually when I add a new file, it makes me restart the server, so it's cool I don't have to today. Alright, so we can see I believe it's inside of match. So we have a params key, and you'll notice this matches in the URL. So that's how we're going to get this key that's in the URL. It's through match params key, and then we're going to send that. But let's type out a new password and hit change, and we can see the new password that I typed out. Alright, so that looks good. So the two things that I need to send, and let's come back to our connector. The two things that I need to send are from the props. That's one item. So this is going to be match params, params, and inside of that key. Now you notice right now that TypeScript doesn't like this. It's like we don't expect this prop. So the way you add this match params stuff, so TypeScript knows about it, and this is something that we get from React Router, is we can import this from React Router DOM. It's called a route component props. So here's where you can add props in TypeScript. So I'm going to say route component props, and then you can do brackets and specify the type. So we have a key, which is a string. So what's it called? React Router doesn't know what you named your variable, right? So we named it key. So we have to tell React Router that right here. So we have an object and a key, it's a string. And you'll notice it now likes it and it's cool with it. And now we can console log this key. So what we're going to do is we're going to pass the key in, and then the value, which is the new password that we get from this submission, to our controller. So that's what we're going to build now, is the controller though. I'm going to go ahead and save this before I do. Alright, so let's come over here and change up the controller. So again, I like to start by changing the mutation that we're going to call. So I'm going to call this forgot password change mutation. And again, I recommend going to localhost 4000. I've already typed mine out, paste it in, and here we're going to be calling the forgot password change. And again, as I talked about, we're going to pass in the new password that we get from the user and then the key from the URL. Those are going to be our two variables. And since we just added a new mutation, we do need to go over there. So packages controller and do yarn gen types. And I don't think we should have any problems creating these now. And cool. So if I come over here to my schema, reason why I open up the schema every time I create this is TypeScript doesn't seem to notice that new types are added unless you actually click on this file and open it. So it helps with caching or something. So let's type in our forgot password change mutation. I'm just going to call this change password controller. And so this is going to be forgot password change mutation. Oh, I guess I didn't use the mutation here. I want to be consistent, so I'm going to change this real quick and put mutation here. And I'll recreate it. And then when that's finished, we're going to do the same things and basically just replace all of these with the new ones. So I think it's finished. Yep, let's reopen this. Come back over here. Okay, so mutation and forgot password change variables. And let's copy these two because we're going to put them in the child props. And we're going to do the same thing here. Variables. So forgot change variables. And same thing here. And we can copy that. Alright, so I think that fixes all and we can get rid of all the imports that we're using for those. I think that's good for the TypeScript types. Now we just need to change what our submit does. So we're expecting two values, and we're just going to call the mutation. The only other thing is we're expecting path and message back, so an array of errors. If we look at our schema, we can see there's possibly errors back, and the reason for that is if someone puts a bad password in, right, it's not going to show. And actually, that's something I forgot. We didn't add a schema to our website, so we'll do that one in just a second. But anyway, so we're going to check whether the response, so we're going to have data and what did I call it? Forgot password change. So copy this, paste it in here. So that's possibly an array of errors. So we're going to check. So if forgot password is an array of errors. Otherwise, if it's null, we know it's not any errors. We're going to return normalize it first. And I want to console log it to see what it is. So forgot password change. So if we get any errors back, we're going to normalize them and send it back. Otherwise, we're just going to send back null. And this is the same thing we did, for example, with our login mutation, right? We have an extra key here for errors. I guess it's more similar to how we did for register. See how we grab register, we check it, and we send it back. Okay. We need to update our types here because now we can, well, first off, I need to change this. We need to go up 2 directories. There we go. And that's because we sometimes don't return null from submit now. So sometimes we send back that type that we created, this normalized error map. So normalized error map. And see, this one was able to autocomplete okay. I'm not sure why some are being funky and some aren't. But this looks good for our controller. So let's go ahead and build it. So I'm going to say yarn build. And now we're going to come back over here to our website. Now, first thing I want to change is actually the change password view. And I want to add a validation schema. And this is going to be coming from the common directory. And this is going to be change password schema. So this is the same schema that we added just earlier. And it doesn't look like it likes it. We know this exists. This happens every time we build. We just have to restart TypeScript. So I'm going to go ahead and do so. The build looked like it passed. And I'm going to go ahead and create this. Actually, before I use the controller, let's verify that we were able to use this change password schema and that errors show up and whatnot. Okay, so this is on change. So, alright, this is a bad password. It's only 1 character long. And cool, it does go ahead and tell me it's a bad password. Alright, so let's add our controller. Alright, so first, oops. Alright, so we're going to wrap with parentheses first, and let's go ahead and do it like this. And then we can add our controller, which let's import. Import from @ab/controller. I don't know if you guys have seen, but I have this kind of way, and ooh, we actually don't have access to it right now. And that's because we did not export it. So make sure you do that. So module/change password. So we need to make sure every time we add something to the controller or either common, that we make sure and export it in our index.typescript file. So now, because we did that, we're going to have to rebuild. But yeah, so what I was saying over here though, I don't know if you've noticed, but whenever I'm importing stuff, I usually like to have my absolute imports in one section, and I'll have my relative imports down in another section. I don't know if I'm doing it here, yeah. So I always do kind of this kind of break, just kind of to organize stuff. So we made some changes. Let's restart the server. And we're going to say change password controller. And we're going to close that tag. All right. So change password controller. And we don't need to pass any props in. We're going to grab the submit function. And now instead of just passing the submit function in right here, what I'm going to do is use a lambda function. And reason for that is I want to get the key that we have right here from the props. So I'm going to say submit, and we're going to pass in 2 things, the key and the new password. New password. New password we're going to get as a variable right here. and I'm guessing it doesn't like it because this is not async possibly. No, it doesn't like it for a different reason. So let's see what TypeScript it doesn't like. Oh, it doesn't like that I'm using a lambda right here. I'm going to turn this rule off for now, because this is the simplest way to be able to grab the key from the props. I'll show you guys a different way we could do this if you want to avoid creating a lambda right here. But let's go ahead and test this out and see if it works. So I should be able to now send a new password, because I haven't done it yet with this user. And I'm not sure what should actually happen when I change the password. Let's go check out the server real quick. I forgot what we even do. So here's the server code for that, or the resolver. So we first check the key. We'll get an expired key if it's been too long. I'm not sure how long we have the expiration date for. I think that's in our utils. So create forgot password link. Alright, so I think I have 20 minutes to reset since I've sent the email. So we'll see if that is expired yet. We send back an error in the key path. We won't actually show that. Maybe we should rename this to new password, because I'm not actually going to show the error unless it's new password. And then let's see what we did down here. We change the password, we update the user, we unlock their account. We're not locking their account anyway or using that, so we don't have to worry about that. We delete it from the Redis key, so we can't keep changing the password. And we're not like logging in the user or anything. So basically I think we should be able to just log in with our new password. So we'll try that out. Alright, so let's go ahead and type in a new password for this guy. So I'm going to say Bob5. And let's see. Alright, so my key has expired. That's what I expected, so I'm just going to get a new link here. So let's reset him. And come back to my server. Click on that email. And we'll now say, I'm going to call this Bob5 for my password. Change it. Looks like it changed okay. So now I'm going to come over here to login and log in with this. So bob@bob.com and Bob5. We have to confirm our email, so we haven't even confirmed our email yet with this guy. But I guess I don't know if I typed in the right password or not. Let's try at tom@tom.com. I think this guy has his email. So let's reset him. Click on that. Reset Tom5. And let's log in with him. Alright, so it looks like I was able to log in with a new password that I created with Tom, because I actually have the email confirmed for him. So you should get the same, and also you should get a cookie back. So you can check your cookies if you want to. So it should look like that. So that's it for this video. In the next video, what I want to do is kind of wire all this stuff up. So right now it doesn't really flow together very well. I want to add some confirmation screens, and then I'll also show you guys how you might go about getting rid of that lambda function. Where was it? That we added right here, if you want to avoid that. And so yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video.